Hello. I gotta turn this stupid music off. I gotta find it. All right. How we doing? I don't know about my audio. Should be good. Let me check this. Let me see if I can, if it's, yeah, it's going. We're officially live. Well, it's been a while. I've spent a lot of time trying to put this together, and I didn't know if it was ever going to work out, to be honest with you. There's a couple of problems I have. Number one, I'm a real estate agent, and I work nights. I show houses at night. It's just tough. It's tough. And then I get tired. And then one of the things about me is I'm an introvert, and I get tired and I don't talk. I actually just keep my mouth shut at night. Like my basic evening is wind down is to go and sit in front of the computer and or sit in front of the television screen and just watch TV in my theater room. And so, this is all new for me, doing this at night, and it's gonna be a trip. I know I can do an hour. I do an hour every morning on the live stream in the morning for the Realty Show, so I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about a couple of things. One, I'd love to come to you at a certain time every night, like the same time. But even tonight, I'm on a different platform than I'm used to. I set things up a little differently than I had done in the past, and it takes a little bit more time. I don't know if I'll be, very wordy at this time of the day, and so I'm going to need your help. I mean, jump on the stream. This is the perfect time. I know I don't get a lot of streams in the morning. A lot of streamers in the morning come and watch my stuff because it's so early, and now you've got an opportunity. It's 9:00 at night. We're going to run it for an hour. If things get better, if there's more people, we'll run it longer. But for right now, this is what we're going to do. And so, because it's our first one, let's just talk about all the things that went into this. So, I spend my days as a real estate broker. In that job, I'm supposed to recruit agents. That's really my only job as a real estate broker, but I don't. I actually wanted to just be left alone when I'm working with my clients, so with my buyers and my sellers. And so I set up the brokerage specifically to help me work with buyers and sellers. That's what I wanted to do. And so far it's worked fine. Last year was terrible, but in the years previous, we were doing okay. And this year is going to be fine. So I don't really have to jump on and do something different. But, my life hasn't gone the way it was supposed to. I have a college degree. In fact, I have 3 of them. I have an undergraduate degree. I have 2 graduate degrees, one an MBA and one an executive management. What is it? It's an executive master's in real estate and construction management. So I have these trophies for the wall. But I never went into corporate America. I always found myself working for the little guy, the micro startup, if you will, the guy that's self-financing his own deal. He's got no other partners. He's just financing himself. Now, was that a smart move? Well, at 44, it's hard for me to get into a corporate job, so probably pretty dumb. But then, given employment as it is today, would I have been the first choice, even with my advanced degrees and experience? Probably not. And this show is to, for me, really let my mind wander as to, what is the nature of employment? Why do we go to work? What's in it for the person? Now, you may say, well, then this means you'll be basically a shill for corporations. And I think you'll be surprised. I don't really want that moniker. What I want is to just go over people are losing their lives at work. That doesn't seem right. People who are very intelligent and maybe can produce a lot of things are not producing, and they're stuck in their jobs for familiarity, perhaps, or for some other reason. But that doesn't seem right. And then there's people that work really, really hard, and they're not being compensated for their work. And you say, well, that's because their work isn't specialized. But you know what? It's worth something. It's worth something. There should be a point of pride in the United States that says, hey, I went to work every day and I did my job, and that's gone. That's gone. And I don't know if it's coming back. And this is not an activist show. Our goal isn't going to be to change the dynamic between the worker and the employee. It's not going to be, I hate to say it, but it's probably going to come from a populist position. I describe my political beliefs as north. That is, I'm not on the left and I'm not on the right. I think that type of thinking is over now, and I think it's all one big party that basically serves the military-industrial complex, and so I have no interest in that. I'm interested in exploring, how did tech get into this? For example, my daughter watches TikTok all the time, and for a while there, she wanted to be a travel nurse, and I'd see on TikTok all these people being travel nurses saying about how great the money is, how great it is to travel, all these things. It was almost like a recruitment for travel nurses. Now, was it real? Was it real in the sense were these real people talking about how great it is to be a travel nurse, or was it being sponsored by someone else behind the scenes? On TikTok, you don't see like, hey, you should go work at an oil rig. I mean, it was bizarre. And so like, what is this that draws us to these other types of employment? When I was a kid, this is what they said. They said, you want to be a nurse. You want to be a nurse because the baby boomers are dying off, or they're going to die off, and those people are going to need nurses. So the best position you could possibly have is to be a nurse. You're never going to lose your job, and it's going to be wonderful. Now, lo and behold, we have a worldwide pandemic, and the first thing that governments do is start just saying, hey, if you haven't been jabbed, you're out. You went from hero to zero in less than 2 years. I thought that was interesting. I thought that's especially under the context of we still need skilled nursing in the United States. What possesses people to take jobs at this point? What is the drive? My wife, she says she likes her job because it gives her the flexibility that she needs to, help make the family go. I think that's admirable. I don't necessarily think that the pay is the issue there, or the pay in what we would think. But, if you're in tech, you have different rules and different benefits packages, different things that would never fly in other organizations. And it's just fascinating. It's fascinating. And what we're going to do is just kind of explore, like, if someone gets fired and they file a lawsuit, we're not going to look at it from the legal perspective, because I don't know the law. And I don't think people follow the law anyway, to be honest with you, for a lot of this stuff. So we'll just look at it from, hey, does this make any sense? I mean, I think that we can have some base, like a foundation. Like, my belief is that you go to work and you do what they say and you get paid for it. You're trading your time, your expertise for a wage. That's my basic premise. Now, you can disagree with that. But when we get into employee activism, employer activism, I get very uncomfortable. I get very uncomfortable with the idea that you are not more than your employment. How do I explain this to you? If you said, John, what is it that you do? Well, I'm a real estate broker, and you come up with this idea of who I am based on that one job profession. Well, what if I said I was a scientist? What would you think about me then? Or a physicist? What would you think about me if I said I was a fireman? You know, and where do we get these preconceived notions of what that is and why? Like, you know, then you run into these weird things where you believe that some admirable position is somehow exempt from the trials of life. How would I explain that? Well, let's say you have a fireman, okay? And the fireman happens to be a murderer, okay? You don't put those two things together when you think fireman, but if you hear postal worker, in the 2000s, I believe, or in the mid-90s, the expression go postal was because postal workers were losing their stuff and just shooting up places. It happened like 2 or 3 times. It wasn't just one-time event. What's the point of all this? What's the point? I mean, like, to me, life is short. Like, shouldn't you be spending it doing something you enjoy? And do you really enjoy like working at, say, the Golden Corral on a Saturday night? I mean, is that really like you're happy? And it's not a criticism of Golden Corral. It's not a criticism of anything. Like, it's just trying to understand your place in the world through your employment. This doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. Another one, when we look at people that treat others, so psychologists, social workers, and whatnot, I've always said, look, it's fine that you try to help others, but you need to get your shit in order first. Sorry to curse like that to start the show, but look, if you can't fix yourself, if you yourself are broken, what are you doing trying to fix the lives of others? And sometimes I think that people that are broken flock to certain professions. Why is that? Why is that? And, you know, if we're talking about an ideal employee in a particular industry, what is that ideal employee at this point in time? Like, who is that? Who is that? Are you comfortable with employers telling you how you should live your life? I have the benefit of volunteering, or I had the benefit of volunteering for a social organization for a number of years. And one of the things that struck me that I don't think I'll ever forget is it's totally okay to discriminate aid towards others. For instance, you can have you can have a situation where only Jewish people are eligible for an award. Now, I'm not criticizing it. Only African Americans or blacks are allowed to get this award or allowed to get this aid. That seems odd. So you have these organizations that are, I mean, they seem racist. There's organizations that seem sexist. You can only donate to this man or this woman. You know, what's that about? And then I've always been fascinated by the concept of bullshit jobs. Bullshit jobs was a concept of a guy that wrote a book about it, but I read the summary. I will get the book because I feel like it's important to apply some sort of framework to this show. And that is, you know, why do we work? And is our work valuable? Why do people get paid more for some things than others? Just an aside, just as something that I've seen in my own life is the electricians. There's an electricians union. And I was talking with a guy one night at a party, and he was saying that, you know, there was a foreman there that brought business to that company, and he could do no wrong. He may have had many other issues in his life. He may have done some terrible things. He may have been a terrible employee to work for, but the guy brought money to the organization, and he never, ever, ever had to worry about being fired as long as he was there. And he would get new trucks. He would get all this other stuff. The business was put before any sort of aid, any sort of ethics. I mean, it's fascinating. And now as we go through this time in American history, people believe that the government is their friend. People believe that the military industrial complex is their friend. People believe that employers are their friends. These people are not your friends. There's no way. How much damage has been done by the employer-employee relationship in the United States? How much damage has that done to families? And now we can talk about things like paid sick leave. We can talk about paid maternity leave. We can talk about any number of things. Okay. I don't really have a complaint. I'm not upset about things. I'm observing them from afar and questioning what in the world. For instance, in my business, I have to find a buyer, and then we have to go look at houses. They have to choose one. We have to get it under contract. We have to go through the process of transferring ownership to the new buyer. And at the end of all of that, I get paid. Now, that's how it goes. I'm directly responsible for my paycheck, which is the commission check. Now, I don't get that. That's not all profit. A lot of people don't understand that. They say, oh, you make all this money. No, I have to pay health insurance, $485 a month. Okay. I have to pay all kinds of things out of that commission. I am self-financing this business, and it is a pain. It is hard. It is difficult. But I feel like the transaction, the place between myself and the buyer, okay, that's a one-to-one spot. I believe that the buyer is best served and their interests are best served when there is no space between me and that buyer. Now, if I got bigger, would I put space between me and the buyer? Maybe I have somebody help show houses, because I can only be so many places at once. But you've got a 1-to-2, 1-to-1 ratio. Okay. Now think about Google. Now, no, I'm not as a criticism, but think about Google. Let's assume that you're in the payroll department at Google, assuming they even have payroll. Even they may farm it out, but there's somebody that's responsible for that. What do you do to contribute to the revenue of the company? Like, what do you really do? And how many people are underneath you also not really doing anything? It's not that it's like we put people in positions and we give them some sort of wage, but it's not necessarily relative to what they do. I mean, it may be relative to the industry that they're in, but then what is their industry? Is their industry payroll? And then why do we pay things like, why do we do all this stuff? Why are the wages for payroll different across the board? You say, well, John, you're stupid. It's because of experience. Experience is what tells us what someone is worth in the marketplace. Well, what if you've gone to work and had bad experiences that are not your problem? What if you go to work as a payroll director and the company goes out of business through no fault of your own? There's some sort of hypocrisy that exists there. And in employment, I think that it exists tenfold. In fact, I think the whole thing is screwy. How many people are responsible for doing something at their jobs that's meaningful, that creates revenue, billable revenue? Who are these people? Like, how many out of a percentage of all the people employed in the United States? And let's just take the United States. How many people are contributing to revenue? Like, really contributing? And then how many other people are busy doing all kinds of things that may even be counterproductive to the organization that they work for? So those are the things that I want to examine. Those are the things I want to talk about. And then how can you help? Well, tell me about your jobs. Don't put your real name, okay, or talk about the employer, okay, because that's identifiable information. But tell me how it is at your job. What makes your job good? What makes it go well? What makes it go bad? What would you like to change? Why did you choose to work there? Did you fall into the job? Did you target your whole career on that? And then what happens when you've become an employee of an organization for 30 years and they fire you right before it's time for you to get your pension, or the company goes bankrupt through no fault of your own? How do you go find another job that gives you the compensation that you maybe feel that you've earned? And then in that space as well, what happens when an executive who's making $100,000 a year is shown the door and they hire someone at a younger person, maybe just out of college, for maybe 75% of the wage that the executive had earned over the last 30 years of employment? The young employee is thrilled. The young employee can't believe their luck. The employee who is forced out is confused. Their life is not going the way it was supposed to go. And then that's the other thing, is who does it ever go right for? Who gets the benefit of ever going to work for an organization when they first get out of college or they first get out of high school, and then they stay with that organization for their entire career, draw a pension or some sort of retirement financed by the corporation they work for? How often does that actually happen? Or at the end of this, is it just a bitter pill to swallow that you don't determine that you can't work anymore? Organizations determine that you are not to work anymore. This is stuff that I want to pay attention to. This is stuff that I'm interested in. The younger millennial group. Now, I don't like to use labels. I don't like to use the millennial label. I don't like, especially in the concept of, it's like all millennials think this, all millennials do that. I don't have that in me. But what I would say is there's a realism, like you're going into the workforce. Do you realize what you're up against? Do you care? Very fascinating things. I knew I was working for a broker in St. Louis, and a doctor's wife was piddling around in real estate. She really didn't do anything, but she didn't need to, because her husband brought home a fat check. He was a specialist in something, and they had sent their children to Harvard. One became a doctor. The other one was going to be in business. And due to the nature of the fact that he graduated from Harvard, at the time, he was able to secure a management position at Uber right out of college. Now, I learned a little bit about this in my own career. When I graduated from Drury College in 2000, no one was interested in my services. And that first summer out of college, I was able to write resumes and send in resumes with no response from anyone. Fast forward a few years, I graduated at Webster University with an MBA, put in a few resumes, and was pleased to see that nothing had changed between the two institutions, except that I'd gotten older. There was no one looking for my services. That did change when I got my executive master's degree at the University of Denver. The University of Denver had recruiters on campus for when the children graduated. The children, I mean the university students. That was totally different. I'd never seen that. And then I learned, if you graduate in one of the top 10, top 20 institutions in the country, you probably have a nice job waiting for you when you get out. If you don't, good luck. Good luck. Is that wrong? I don't know. It's just things that I want to explore. My life did not go like in a straight path. It's still not. I'm not ready to give up yet. Let's put it that way. But I would be fascinated to know someone whose life actually went the right, perfect, straight path. Now, I have one friend right now, was in the 95th percentile on the MCAT. She can't get into medical school. Been trying for 2 years. Great grades, great great, great. I don't know the word, but she has people pulling for her. She's a good person. She's going to do well, but just can't get in. Now I had another friend was in the top 80th of the medical school, the MCAT test, and he got into medical school after he got a degree in public health. I don't understand how that happens. But in this world, standardized testing has kind of gone by the wayside. Your diversity and your tolerance and these characteristics are more important than any sort of proof of the ability to do something. That seems like a problem to me. I don't know if you saw Twitter over the past couple days, but there's a story of this med student was bragging about how someone did something with her pronouns, made fun of the fact she used pronouns on her, and an old man, made fun of the fact that she had pronouns in her name. And so she was proud of the fact that she missed his vein when she was trying to give him an IV, intentionally missed it twice. Is this what we are to, is this what we're to live for now? Is this what we're going to deal with? Are we going to have, your how do I put it? Your activism in medical school being more important than helping the sick? It sure is fascinating how Big Pharma all of a sudden was not to be questioned about anything over the past 2 years. It's a very weird deal. We can talk about things like social standing amongst employees or by employment. Okay. And so let's look at that real quick. Used car salesman, you think very low of that person. Why is that? Real estate agent, you think very low of that person. Why is that? Public service, a politician, all of a sudden we think highly of that. If we say public service, if we say politician, we don't think highly of them. But you'll often hear them parrot how they've been in Congress for 40 years or 50 years, and they've always served the public. Yet when you look at their bank statements, their bank accounts, they've come to Washington with nothing, and they've left with millions. What about the perception? Do you believe any sort of politician is honest, upstanding, upright? Would you invite them to your house? I mean, what is up with these people? We think of doctors as these wonderful, wonderful people concerned only with the health of others. Do you believe that in 2022? Do you believe that doctors only care about their patients and nothing more? Why do we think so highly about doctors now? And it's not like there's an infallible position. I don't think there's one bit of employment that you can have where people are going to just say that you're the most wonderful person ever. That's okay. But where did the hierarchy come from? I mean, are the stereotypes relevant? Are they accurate? I don't think so. But, we'll talk about it. So that's what I was thinking. Okay. How are we going to develop this? I don't know. I'm going to need people in the chat. My real estate agent chat or my real estate chat at 9 a.m. We got nobody in the chat except for Russian spam. And then that was no good. So I just made it so that you had to, subscribe before you could put in a comment. I'm also going to do the same thing here as soon as I understand it on StreamYard. My live stream in the morning is on Streamlabs. That's because I'm used to it. I would make my podcasts off of Streamlabs, but I'm moving to StreamYard for this and probably everything else over time because I'm on StreamYard. Because I want the ability to be able to bring in guests. I want to be able to talk about the nature of employment. I want to be able to talk about, talk to people about like, hey, what is it that you do? Hey, what brought you into this field? Hey, is there something that annoys you about the field? What about compensation according to somebody else? Like these kinds of things matter to me. Now, people may not want to talk about it, and that's totally fine. But I wanted to be able to have the platform. I cannot work Streamlabs as far as getting guests, calling in on Skype and things like that. I just don't think that's going to work for me. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So anyway, that's where I'm at. I'm going to take a moment because it's the first show. I want to look and see how the stream is going as far as on the back end. Actually, I screwed up. I don't need to do it that way. I can do it from here. I want to just see how YouTube is responding. Is everything good? It says we have an excellent connection. We have, the type of analytics that I thought we would have. I'm not really worried about it. It's wild. I didn't know you could do some of the things that I can see on this one, and I wasn't able to do it on my other streams. And so, like, it's weird. It says my stream health is excellent. It says it's good. The stream settings are good. I'm going to have to change a lot of this stuff. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to go, but it's good. That's all I can say is it's good. Tomorrow I'll probably play the replay and just see how it looks. I plan on cleaning up the stream a little bit, but not too much. So at least on my realty stream, what people tend to do is they tend to not be in the chat. They tend to sit back and watch. And I was reading some statistics today that only maybe 5% of the chat audience will interact with you. And so, what is 5%? Like 300 people? There's like 5. I don't know. I can't do the math in my head. Let's just see. Let's see. At 300 people, how many people should we assume be part of the chat? So 300 times 0.05, that's 15 people. So 15 people running the chat at 300. 1,000 is what? What is 1,000? Give me a break. It's 9:38 at night. That's 50 people. 50 people in the chat. I'd take it. What I want to do is, invite you to come on the chat. Go ahead and get in the chat. It'll be fun. I will respond. I will talk with you. The only time that I won't really interact with you is when I'm on the other screen. I only have one screen right now. And so when I'm doing an article or something, I have to go to that stream. But anyway, that's it. That's going to be my introduction. I'm John Schenk. We're running a new channel, Our Nature of Employment. We're going to talk about employee-employer relationships in a fun way. Not too serious, not too heavy. Will there be heavy stuff? Yes, but I'm more interested in this, finding this reason why you would work with someone else. As an employer, as a broker, why am I hiring someone? What am I getting when I hire someone? Am I getting a basket case? Why would I want that? Why would I take that risk? What laws are available to me if I have to remove this employee in Missouri? What should you expect as an employee for a startup? Why would you go, if you had the choice, why would you go work for a startup, a mom and pop place, self-financing their growth when you could go work somewhere else and maybe hit it big on a lottery ticket, essentially, on one of the, on one of the startups? There's a lot of well-funded Wall Street startups that never make any money, but the employees do pretty well at the end of the day. They get stock bonuses and things like that. And so while they're there, maybe some of them realize things are going poorly. We need to get out. And so they do. They get out just in time. We're going to talk about better.com. Irony in the name, because they treat their employees like dirt. But anyway, let's try to do this now. It's be the first time that I've done this. We're going to go, and I am going to go to the first article, and I'm just going to preface it by saying, this question to me is simply, do you have a right to work somewhere else in the off time? What's that line? What's that line? And for this woman, apparently the line was the OnlyFans account. That was the line for her. So now I need to see what is going on here. If I can even have this up, because I don't know, something's a little weird. Wish me luck. It's not that. Is it? No. It's not that. Where is it? So here you go. I want to be right here. How do I do that? It worked yesterday. I would say I was nervous, but I've been in this business long enough that like this isn't really that big a deal. It's definitely not that. It's definitely not that. Definitely not that. Definitely not that. Definitely not that. I don't know why it won't give me what I wanted, but I have it now. And so let's get to it. Okay, do you see it? You tell me in the chat what you like. Do you like it that way or do you like it this way? I kind of like it this way, but if you want it, I mean, you want it that way? I don't like it that way. That irritates me. This is stupid because I need more people on it for that. But this is the one that I think would be the best for me, or this one. This one's bigger. Let's go with this one. And if it really irritates you after a while, that's fine. So I'm going to go over to that screen now. Wish me luck. Marketing manager claims she was sacked from her job after her boss discovered her OnlyFans account, and she reveals she is a much happier person, earning $969 a day. Says Annabelle Knight claims she was fired from her marketing job a week in a new role. The 25-year-old says she was sacked after her boss found her OnlyFans account. She now makes around $969 a day sharing saucy photos of herself online. And so they talk about the creator economy. So what does that mean? What does that mean when we have the creator? Is this it? I don't like this. I'm going to try this, and we'll check on the replay if oh, that's terrible. We'll check on the replay if that's any good. But anyway, the question here is why aren't you allowed to be on an OnlyFans and still work someplace? Like what rule did you break? Some contracts, some things are set up where you're not allowed to work other places while you work in your current employment or your primary employment. So, what happened here? So anyway, let's just go through it. It says, an OnlyFans model claims she was fired from her marketing job after her boss discovered her account and believes a college dobbed her in. I believe dobbed in this is on the Daily Mail of the UK. This dobbed would mean told on her, essentially. Annabelle Knight, 25, from Brisbane, had been working with the company for less than a week when she was giving her marching orders. She believes one of her new colleagues found her on the X-rated site and spilled the beans to management. And so there she is. She's 25 years old. You got to. I know this is going to be disappointing to some of you, but you're not going to see me successful on OnlyFans. Okay, that's not where it's set up for. Here's a picture of herself. I believe they'd call that cheeky. It says the former marketing manager started her OnlyFans account in September of 2020 in a bid to save money to buy a house, but had never expected it to become so lucrative so quickly. I mean, go figure. If you're blonde and attractive and 25 years old, sitting around in swimsuits or less, you could make some money online. Go figure. Within a month, Annabelle made thousands and continued to use it for the next 18 months as a side project to her full-time job, averaging $1,794 a month. Now, I don't know if that means, if that's what she meant there, her current job, or what. I don't like that. I don't know if that's, are we still good? I'm still learning this, so don't make fun of me. You can, it's fine. Anyway, she now makes $969. She makes $1,000 a day sharing saucy photos of herself online. I'm pleased to have been fired to an extent. I'm a lot happier now and I have a lot more freedom, she told Jam Press. I'm earning a considerable amount more now than I ever was at the other job. And Miss Knight also shares a food review page on Instagram with Ellie Groves called 2 Teaspoons. Last month, the duo raised the ire of a local restaurant owner by suggesting a collaboration under which they got free food in exchange for publicity on her page. So this gal is, I don't know, having a time. So the owner sent a public response telling Ms. Knight and Ms. Groves that they should not be asking for free products when the hospitality industry is still getting back on its feet after COVID, and they should be trying to help local eateries rather than taking advantage of them. So she is having a time. It says, hey, apologies for the delay. I've been grappling with how much rage to demonstrate throw in your direction, the owner wrote. I've decided to take the high road and explain a few things too in the hope that you'll learn something and become a better person. She's literally being accused of not being a good person. Reaching out blind to a venue you know nothing about, looking for free stuff is a silly enough, I'll say silly enough thing to do in the best of time, but it's even worse when COVID is still very much a thing affecting small businesses like us devastatingly for the past 2 years now. And I agree with that. I have a business, and I had a guy today call me out of the blue and say, hey, you need to sponsor us for this, and you're going to get all your business out of it. And, that's not true. That's just not true. So, I can understand this. But anyway, let's continue. It says, Annabelle said on the morning she was fired, she was asked if she had any other side businesses. Now, it's weird. We're going back and forth. We're going from between the OnlyFans problem and then the problem, the fact that she's asking for a bunch of free stuff. But anyway, she said the morning she was fired, she was asked if she had any other side businesses. And she said, I said no, assuming my manager meant retail side businesses that were tax deductible. I also couldn't think of how she'd found my OnlyFans account at that stage. It was completely unsearchable, and I'd capped my fans at around 1,000 where they'd been sitting for about a year. I was sent an email giving me an opportunity to explain myself. They'd written all the reasons why they thought I deserved to have my position terminated. I couldn't believe it. I don't know. It says, according to Annabelle, the reason for her firing were threefold. Okay. Now, and this is in, I believe, Australia. It says, including publishing content to an online site with pornographic images, as well as conducting a business with approval from her employer, and falsely advising that she had no side gigs. The model believes one of her colleagues was also a subscriber and is the one to have let the cat out of the bag, having shown her boss the X-rated snaps. Hours after her meeting, Annabelle claimed she was sent an email telling her she was being let go. I didn't promote my OnlyFans anywhere, so I can only assume that someone at my work was just subscribed to my OnlyFans and sent the evidence into my boss. Now, this woman managed to make it into the Daily Mail. Okay. And she's got a marketing degree or some sort of marketing deal because she's always getting, she's getting somewhere through her marketing. So it made me furious that someone at the company who subscribed to my page and then reshared my content. A simple conversation would have sufficed. I am well aware of what I have posted and didn't need it to be reshared. Despite the uncomfortable situation and being fired, Annabelle has now got her own back. In her marketing job, she made $88,000 a year. Now she rakes in up to $30,000 a week. A week. Can you believe that? And she only puts in about 6 hours a day. The model recently uploaded a video to TikTok explaining her controversial firing, which racked up 215,000 views before it was deleted. She has since reshared the video and has received criticism from social media users. One TikToker commented, "Get a real job." And what does that mean? This is what we're talking about. What does that mean? A real job in 2022. A second social media user said, "I hope you're seeking mental health assistance for all the hate you're receiving and to help you with being a narcissistic person." So that person, that was not a backhanded compliment. That was like, this says you're a mess. And it says, the comment prompted a reply from Annabelle, which said, "I'm not narcissistic at all. I'm the most selfless, generous, caring person, which you wouldn't know because you don't know me." And then it says, someone else commented, "Great role model for other girls, not sucks." I don't know what that word is, but it's not good. So what do we have here? What do we have here? We have a young, attractive woman who wants to work as a marketing director or work in marketing. Okay. And then on a side job, she shows everything that she has. Okay. Now, one, you make a tremendous amount of money sometimes. The other one seems more stable. No offense to her, but when she's like 90, I don't think people are going to want to see her on an OnlyFans account, or maybe people are into that sort of thing. I don't know. It's kind of gross to me. But these are the things, like, why do we go to work? What made this, I'll say, young woman, what made her decide that an OnlyFans account and her employment were going to work out? Do you think she should have been fired? I don't know. I have no idea. I can only think about things as the way they would work to me. And I know this sounds weird, but if I'm a business owner and I'm getting some reward from someone working for me on the side, I don't know that that's such a bad idea. Like, for instance, if I had a worker working at OnlyFans at night and they were, supporting Deerwood Realty, I mean, maybe I'm going to get a house sale out of it. I don't know. There's a larger thing in play here. Sexuality in the workforce. When I was this is in the mid 90s, so maybe 2000, you'd find pharmaceutical saleswomen. They were not ugly. And I don't know if that was I don't know if that was an accident or if that was by design. But I think that most of them could have gotten to the doctor's office if they were male pretty easily. Was it right? I don't know. It's not for me, again, to decide. It's just things that I've noticed. We value beauty in our society. Is that wrong? No, I don't think so. But boy, I've never been the beneficiary of that. Okay. I've never been the beneficiary. So for people like myself, it's like, I could be as qualified as anyone, and I'm not getting a job when someone can be a model at OnlyFans. And there's no way. And so I get it. But this is the type of the stuff that I wanted to talk about, is like, look, what's wrong with our society and our employment when a girl has to go work at OnlyFans to make 3 times what she makes at her real job being the 9-to-5er. Like, something's wrong there. There's a mispricing in the economy. I mean, who came up with these wages in the first place? Who agrees to go work? We're going to talk about all kinds of things, like the great walkout, different industries, different standards for different groups, and come along with me. I mean, that's kind of what I'm interested in. So that's the first article that I saw. It'll be the first article forever. Then we're going to get into another article here. It's from the New York Post. So the New York Post says, now I just closed that one. Now I don't know how it's going to go. Now, just because I haven't, used this system in a while, let's see how it goes. Okay, so we're good. We're on the New York Post thing. Okay. Florida Police Chief Larry Scirato fired for favoring non-white officers. What's this about? I don't know. I don't want to get a YouTube strike. It says a Florida police chief has been given the boot after an investigation found he engaged in discriminatory promotion practices, and then remarked that wall is too white when looking at pictures at the department's command staff. Larry Scirato, who took over the Fort Lauderdale Police Department in August, was fired by the city manager on Thursday, according to a press release. The report filed several discrimination complaints that alleged Scarrato, age 48, made hiring and promotion decisions with an illegal race-based approach. Now, I don't know if you've noticed that the Supreme Court nominee was nominated, well, at least the president said he was going to hire a black woman. And that's exactly what he did, although she cannot define what a woman is. It happened. It happened. So, I don't know why this guy gets fired. Why does this guy get fired, but the president obviously doesn't get fired? I guess because he's voted in. But anyway, it says Scarrato, a former assistant police chief in Pittsburgh, became the first openly gay chief hired in Fort Lauderdale last year. He is of mixed race. I hate to say this. I don't want to know if someone's gay if they're not comfortable saying they're gay. And I don't know what that has to do with him being in his position. And then he is of mixed race. Another thing I don't want to know about. Okay. I really don't. Can the guy do his job? Okay. Can the guy do his job? That's what I care about. Can he do it better than someone else? Is there a way to know that he can do it better than someone else? I don't know, but I don't need to hear about these things. I don't know how it's relevant to the story. I feel like it was kind of just a shot across the bow. A 12-page investigation into the bias complaints concluded that Scarrato created a divisive atmosphere in the department, and that he once pointed to a conference room full of photos on the department's command staff and declared, "This wall is too white, and I'm going to change that." Okay, so based on what I understand the world to be, this guy is perfect. This is everything that you want. This is someone who's going to take everyone else down, and we're going to have everything's going to be wonderful under this. I believe that's equity. And as far as creating a divisive atmosphere, bosses create divisive atmospheres all the time. Now, I don't want to be in a position of defending this type of behavior, but I'm confused by it. I'm confused by why one person in one industry would get fired for this and another person in a different industry might be promoted because of this policy. It's just hard to understand. In another incident, the investigation found that Scarrato said, "Which one is blacker?" when considering a promotion, an incident the former police chief denies took place. This is an allegation. It says it found that Scarrato, he says that didn't happen. I mean, I don't even know, who did the investigation? The report quoted Scarrato. I'm going to just go with that. If it's wrong, it's not meant to offend anybody. Who headed the police department for just 6 months, is saying he intended to consider diversity at every opportunity. Isn't that what everyone's been preaching and saying is the best thing ever? I mean, everyone talks about diversity and tolerance being the best ever. This is the greatest thing for America. We're going to be diverse. And this guy's saying it. And now all of a sudden he's fired. I don't understand. Now, here we go. Here's a quote. Overall, there's a very divisive atmosphere within the department based on the perception the chief is intentionally using race, gender, and sexual orientation as he attributes necessary for promotions. Reads the report, which is not a good sentence. While the goal to diversify is an important and laudable goal, it must be accomplished in a legally permissible manner. And so what that means to me is, look, you're supposed to do exactly what you said you're going to do, but you can't tell people that's how you're going to do it. You can't say that. You're going to have to keep that quiet. You're just supposed to go along with the program. And so it says on Saturday, Scarrato told CNN he promoted 15 people from August to November. Just 6 were ethnic or gender minorities, and said the report was vague on the facts. Now, I don't know. I just don't know. And I don't really feel comfortable, saying one person is an okay gender, an okay ethnicity, and another person is not. This seems like a bad idea. Anyway, an interview with Fox affiliate 7 News, Scarrato defended himself, insisting the non-white candidates deserve to be promoted. those minority groups are now being treated as if they were less than deserving. And that's not the case. And it never was, he told the TV station. So now, apparently in the office, those people who were promoted for their gender or believed to be are now people just look at them like they were hired for the only reason or promoted for the only reason of their sexuality, their ethnicity. And that is really more harmful than just not doing it. In theory, I don't know. The promotions that I made are of the minority candidates were because they were exceptional candidates and they excelled in every level of the organization. They deserve to be promoted. And by the way, they happen to be minority. It wasn't because they were a minority. Now that's what he's saying. Of the which one is black remarks, Scirotto told the outlet he never said that. But on Friday, Fort Lauderdale City Manager Chris Langerbloom said the report revealed the diversity promotion was conducted illegally. He said, "We strive to be diverse in our organization. We strive to represent the community that we serve. There's just certain lawful ways to allow that diversity to happen," he said, according to 7 News. And in this case, the investigative report indicated we didn't quite follow the law in how we were working towards those diverse positions. The firing came in October after 2 Fort Lauderdale cops alleged they had been passed over for promotions based on race, sexual orientation, and gender, according to the Sun Sentinel. In response, Lagerbloom reportedly put a halt to promotion in order to address concerns surrounding the recent police department promotions. Now, I just look at this for what I see, and that's the guy was told, like, his whole career, you need to, we laud diversity. We laud this. This is very, very important. And then when he went out and did it, he said it out openly. Okay. And you're not allowed to do that. You have to hire people on the down low. If you're going to hire somebody, because that's exactly what happened with the Biden nomination. I think it's such a slippery slope. Okay. I mean, I have no interest in racism, in any sort of this sexism or any of this. I just want competent people. I know that sounds weird. I'm in real estate and I'm always fascinated where they say there's a tremendous amount of discrimination in real estate sales. Okay. And that real estate agents have had a history of being discriminatory in their practices. And so now we're going to fix that by spending money. We're going to give money, government money, to non-governmental organizations, community organizations that are looking to ensnare real estate agents at all times, calling them at strange times of the day to say, "Hey, will you show me this house?" And if I were to say no, they mark that in the notebook as saying he would not show a house to this person at this time. I'm sure that that's race related. That's in my own business. That's in my own situation. So I just don't know how you're ever going to solve this problem, because I don't even know that you can identify the problem. I'm sure racism exists, okay? But I don't know how you're going to fix it by saying to one group, "You're not welcome here. You don't get to do anything." And then you say to another group, "Doesn't matter what you've done, we're going to go ahead and promote you," solely on the basis of some sort of characteristic that the person cannot change. I mean, that's a problem. So I thought that was a very interesting article. When people are being too diverse at work, I guess. Now, how does this guy go get a job? Like, seriously, like, who's going to hire him? And, again, his crime was saying something out in the open. If he would have just kept his mouth shut and just hired whoever he wanted to, he could have fixed everything. It wouldn't have been an issue. I thought that was very fascinating. I thought it was fun. Thank you for coming along with me. If we had a robust chat, we could talk about it there. I would read the chat because the chat's very important to be on a live stream. This is our first one. Let's do one more just for the start. This is, the first time we've ever done it. And let's just see how it goes. I don't remember the next article. I don't know if it's any good. Okay, here we go. Yes. Now, when I got my MBA, we talked about all kinds of pressures at work. Okay, and even in my, I think I would say I was employed at companies for maybe, I don't know, four or 5 years that weren't companies that I had started or that I was pretty much that I had started or that I had a major influence on. And I'll tell you, I didn't fit in. I didn't fit in any way. And that's kind of why I think that I think the experience just kind of taught me that I wasn't supposed to be working with other people like that. So anyway, I thought this is nice. These 5 annoying phrases make you sound passive aggressive at work. Here's what to say instead. So I think this will be fun. I don't know, but let's get to it. It says, when's the last time you rolled your eyes at an email loaded with corporate lingo? And so oftentimes I will use corporate lingo in my emails now when I reach out, which is corporate lingo, to others. And it makes me laugh. I don't think other people get the joke, though, because they're not using it the way I am. If the answer is today or this week, you're not alone. People are fed up with workplace jargon. You can hear the collective exasperated sigh of employees across the internet as videos and tweets poking fun at overused phrases like "per my last email" and "circle back" garner millions of likes. According to recent research from Slack, 63% of workers find it off-putting when colleagues used workplace jargon in their communications, and 78% reported stopping themselves from talking or sending messages to avoid using jargon. The report is based on survey responses from 2,000 remote and hybrid workers in the United States conducted in January. However, as much as workers loathe such cliches, 89% admitted to relying on workplace jargon in conversation with clients, managers, and colleagues to sound more professional or to maintain office norms. And that's what I was taught. That's what I was taught with my MBA. They said, look, when you can create a vocabulary in an organization that's all individual to its own, unique to its own, you're creating a culture, and that culture is what you want. Businesses are about creating cultures, that can-do attitudes. One way you do that is you affect the vocabulary used in the office. Now, that's what they said. Okay, but hey, what do I know? It says, here are the top 5 most annoying workplace jargons to avoid, according to Slack, and tips for communicating better at work. Now, I just wanted to go over one thing. I don't know why I can't say jargon tonight. I'm adding an A after the G, and I don't know why. I'm not nervous as much as I just think that there's something with an accent is kind of messing me up. So ASAP, that's the first one. Why it's annoying. ASAP is problematic because it communicates urgency without clarity. I'm going to cough. Everyone's ASAP has a different meaning too. Yours might mean at the end of the week, but your bosses could mean at the end of the day, which can exacerbate tension and work delays. That's very fascinating. So if I say I want something ASAP, that means I want it like yesterday. That's the definition for me. So in theory, if I were to use that jargon in the office, I would have to explain that ahead of time to the people who are working with me. Kind of weird. I get it. So it says what to say instead. Choose a specific date or time. For example, career coach Emily Liao recommends writing, "Is it possible to get me this by EOD?" I would never do that. I would never do that. And I wouldn't phrase it as a question. Like, I need this tomorrow. There's no, we're not, can you please? No. That's not the way it is. But I'm also one of those people that believes in a hierarchy. And that's a little weird. Most people don't like a hierarchy for some reason. I don't know. Anyway, I like to know where I stand. Anyway, that way the receiver can respond with a more realistic timeline if needed, and you avoid disappointment on both ends. I don't know. What do you think about that? I'm going to check the chat. Have we got anybody in the chat? No. But we'll keep going. Okay, let's keep going. Keep me in the loop. Why it's annoying. It's similar to ASAP. This phrase lacks clarity about expectations. It can also feel redundant or simply or imply a lack of trust, especially in a managerial relationship. You don't want to sound like a helicopter mom. What to say instead? Set parameters about how frequently you and the person you're communicating with should meet or talk about the topic, including specific action words or measurable metrics. For example, this, I think it's a woman, says, please update me on X date or when X milestone has been achieved. Now, keep me in the loop. I would use that if, like, hey, this is your project, you take care of it, but just kind of let me know what's going on while you go throughout. Now, why do I want to be kept in the loop? What if something's going south and you need my assistance? Then you're supposed to come and get me. That's why it's like, please update me on X date when X milestone has been achieved. What if it's never achieved? Are we just gonna act like it didn't happen? I don't really like this one. So far now, I've disagreed with two of them. While I can understand where they're coming from. Anyway, team player, that's the next one. Why it's amazing. Even if it's intended as a compliment, telling someone they're a team player or asking someone to be a team player can come off as passive-aggressive or a directive. It's very interesting. As we continue to work through a pandemic, workers have dealt with a lot of stress and unexpected challenges too. And this kind of comment can sound like it's encouraging overwork. Now, so when I say someone's a team player, that's the ultimate compliment in an organization. Okay? You would never ask someone to be a team player. That is wrong. Because that assumes that you're not being a team player any other time. I know that one. I agree with that. But being a team player, to me, is a position of positivity. You want to be a team player. You strive to be a team player in an organization if the organization's thinking is along those lines. It says there's plenty of other encouraging phrases to share your appreciation for a colleague. She recommends saying, I appreciate you, or I'm so glad you're part of this team. Well, now, if I just want to pet a dog on the head, that's what I would say. But these are people, and I don't like to treat people like animals. So I don't think that would work. Again, that's just me. Maybe you think differently. You're entitled to. Put a comment in the chat, and we'll talk about it. Give me 110%. Why it's annoying. Who has 110% to give to their work right now? That's interesting. This also isn't going to go like I thought it would. It says a lot of people are already stretched their capacities, noting the uptake in resignations and mental health issues we're facing. Hearing this can feel particularly grating, like you're not working hard enough. It's exactly right. It's exactly right. It's like, we need you to be a team player on this. You need to give me 110%. That's like a double smack in the face. What to say instead? It's better to use inclusive or motivating language that champions an individual employee or team. Phrases like, let's do our best and we can do it and you're going to crush it, or more positive alternatives. Or just knock it off. Treat people like people and hope they treat you the same. You're right. I agree with this one. Don't ever say give 110%. That's stupid. Okay, here's one. Now, I use this one. I've never really thought about it as a negative. I'm a little bit embarrassed. Let's see how this goes. Just checking in. Why it's annoying. Just checking in is arguably one of the most popular phrases in our workplace vernaculars, but sometimes it can come across as passive aggressive. It can almost imply a sense of pre-failure, like, hey, I'm just checking in because you didn't already let me know what was happening. That's interesting. I don't use it that way. If I have a client that I haven't talked to in a while, I would just say, I'm just checking in. I don't have an agenda. I'll even put, I don't need anything. I'm just checking in. And I'm checking in on you. How are you doing? I want to know about you. Isn't that interesting? It can almost imply a sense of pre-failure, like, hey, I'm just checking in because you didn't already let me know what's happening. It says what to say instead. If you're looking for a progress update on a task, that's absolutely right. That's not what I'm doing when I'm just checking in. Lou suggests asking directly. Say, I thought of you. Can I get a progress update? Or you can try, how's everything going? I don't know about that. Because I'm not using just checking in as a replacement for those things. And I don't know if you want to say, if you're a male employer and you're texting or emailing a female employee and you say, I thought of you, that has a different connotation as well. I don't know that you would want to do that. Slack also found that employees have a clear preference for more casual, concise communication, sometimes using emojis or GIFs. I'm going with GIF, just so you know. Respondents said communicating with emojis and GIFs has made work feel more flexible, friendly, and inclusive, as well as helped them feel more authentic at their job. Very fascinating that the use of pictures, both moving and then the emojis themselves, would give anyone an ability to feel more authentic at their job. The biggest recommended this person offers is asking your colleagues what their communication preferences are. The way we work with one another has changed, and adapting our styles has become a sign of the basic workplace respect. Don't be afraid to speak up and request to communicate differently or to take the initiative to ensure you're corresponding in the best way possible with peers. Now, peers are the people amongst you. I don't think you would go to your boss and say, hey, man, I don't like that emoji you sent me. It's crap. I don't even know what that means. I just don't see you doing that. I mean, really. Confusing. Going back to the main set. So that's the first show. That's what we're going to do. We're going to get in, get out. We're going to go over some things. You're going to tell me what you think. I'm going to tell you what I think. And hopefully we can conquer the demons, the hell that is the employer-employee landscape in the United States in 2022 and beyond. Maybe things will change. Right now, do employees have the upper hand? I don't know. One of the funnier memes you'll see is, my boss gave me a raise of 2%, but inflation 7%. Great. And I understand that. I understand that thinking completely. So, look, it was fun. We tried. We started. Will I be back tomorrow night? I don't know. Remember, my job's a little weird. Let's just say this. I'd like to stream from 9 to 10. I'd like to go longer if my audience allowed me. But for now, I got nobody in the chat. I don't know if anybody's going to be watching. Here's the things you can do to help me. Subscribe. That's 100% true. Watch. Please watch and enjoy. And then as we go along, contribute in the sense. You can put your comment in the chat. You can send me an email. I guess I got to put together an email in the description so that you would know where to email me. But I'll do that. But tell me about your workplace. Tell me how it sucks. Tell me why it sucks. Tell me what you would do differently. We all have jobs. I'd just be interested in what you have to hear. With that, I'm going to head out. Thank you for watching the first show ever. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope we're around for years to come. Good night.